Hey everybody, this is Bronson with Unscripted Access, the GamerAccess.com's premier gaming news podcast. Kind of a slow news week as a whole. Brandon's out at SAC Anime. Generally just a bunch of stuff that's, more laid back, and we're going to have a slow news week. Obviously, I'm sorry the Game of the Year stuff is late. We had some complications. We'll get that up as soon as we can. We're looking forward to having that going up. As for the news with us, well, we have a pretty standard year plan so far. We're going to finish up the Doom LP, finally. We have Road to Endgame, our weekly Marvel podcast, Unscripted and 60-minute access. Along with Playing God, it's going to be a pretty standard year. We're going to focus on making those shows the best we can make them. And then also possibly some other stuff we have in the works that we can't quite talk about yet. Also, if you want to catch me streaming, I do it with my roommate on her channel every week, Little Woman 21 on Twitch. But as for the news, so, hey, the Humble Bundles, the Humble Store is now selling Switch and 3DS games. They're offering 40 Switch games and 3DS games are now available. They kind of have all the big hits for both. It's pretty standard. It's nice to have another option for those, primarily because Nintendo games rarely ever go on sale. Like, it's just the truth. Like, Nintendo games are rarely ever on sale, and this means there's one more avenue where there's a chance they potentially could go on sale. And thank God for that, because I love Nintendo, and I would love to play their platform more, but it just seems like the stuff I want to play on it is just, it's never ever there on a price that I want to pay. So, yeah, and, good news, more competition, the better. I play my Switch a lot. Here's hoping that they can get Undertale on sale, actually, on it. I'd love to play that. Next up is the RTX 2060 and mobile GPUs at CES. So, NVIDIA held a press conference ahead of the upcoming CES show, showing off a new gaming hardware that should please desktop and mobile fans. The 2060 came out for the mid-range, quote, and quite honestly, it's actually kind of ballparking in the 1070 Ti territory for the vast majority of games at 1440p and 1080p. The fine folks, Bitwit, Linus Tech Tips, all of them are currently, sitting, it's supposedly going to be in the $350 price range. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. If that is the case, that's kind of a steal because currently 2070 Ti, not 2070 Ti's, 1070 Ti's are ranging from 400 to 450. So I'm very happy to see this price. There's also going to be a bundle where if you do order one, you'll get a copy of Anthem or Battlefield 5. And it supports the super sampling technology, the DLSS, along with ray tracing because of the RTX name. So yeah, that's all fun games. And then we have the mobile chipset. So the mobile chipsets for the 10 series were kind of awesome. If you got the regular versions, they were basically desktop equivalents, almost the same, maybe a 5% gap, if that. And even if you got the Max Q, which is the more optimized for mobile, downclocked by about 10% version, traditionally for thin lights, it was only a 10% downgrade. It wasn't like the 9 series and especially the 7 series where where it was a case of like massive differences. The massive difference between a 780 mobile and a 780 standard were huge. They haven't stated any specs yet. There'll be with Max Q variants as well. So yeah, and they said they will be able to play ray trace games like Battlefield 5 at 1080p, 60 FPS. So it looks like it looks like that it's going to be the same thing as before, where it's going to be, hopefully desktop and desktop-like performance for in a laptop and laptop prices. This is making laptop gaming far, far, far more appealing, and I hope the trend continues. As for the 1060 itself, it's out. You can see the statistics here. Less CUDA cores than its brethren, even the 1070 Ti. But, faster memory than 1070 Ti. Faster memory speed, faster memory bandwidth, less power draw than a 1070 Ti, which is currently its biggest, comparison. So here are some 4K benchmarks. As you can see, just dominates the 1060, its counterpart, and then in most games is either doing a lot better than its counterpart, with the exception being the Witcher 3. Don't know why that is. Witcher 3, and then of course some of the Fire Strike benchmarks. And then you go into 1440, similar results here. 1080p, once again, similar results one more time. They're claiming it performs like a 1080, though it performs more like a 1070 Ti. So yeah, they're selling it for $350, which yeah, this is actually the first one of these where I'm like, I can recommend that. Yeah, if you are in that price range, go nuts. But I can't really outright do so otherwise. Like, the 2070 is, if you have a 10 series card, moving to the 10 series equivalent outside of the 1060 to the 2070, or sorry, the 2060 going. Oh my god, I'm getting everything backwards. Going from a 1060 to a 2060 actually makes sense. It's a pretty big performance jump. You're going from, you can actually run games at 4K from wanting to hang at 30 FPS, and if you're at 1080p, you're getting 10 to 20 frame jumps in a lot of games. So, absolutely would recommend this for anyone who's hanging at a 1060 or weaker. As for if you're obviously on a 1070 or 1070 Ti, no reason to go backwards, or equivalent in this case. If you're going from a 1070 to a 2070, I'm not even sure that's worth it really, at least right now. And then on the other side of it, you have the God, what was it? The 2080. It's basically a 1080 Ti. Even if you have a regular 1080, going to a 2080 just doesn't seem like a smart move. Because at that point, your only real meaningful upgrade is the Ti, the 2080 Ti. So we have some benchmarks here for the 2080 Ti in comparison to what its competition does, and yeah, that makes sense. It's like, okay, if you're rocking a 1080 Ti, you're getting big increases. But I'll be honest, for a $400 price difference, you should be. So yeah, that's about it. Like I said, slow news week. Next week is obviously gonna be a lot bigger because of CES, and we'll have more details on all this NVIDIA information. Hopefully we'll be back on our normal schedule soon. And we love you guys, and bye. Oh, and follow us on social media, @TheGamerAccess.